And our today's video will be homebrew games. There are a lot of good homebrew games already ported to the Pandora. Well, actually there are so many homebrew games that I can't show them all today. I will make another day next week where I show homebrew games. Here's Pingus, which is basically a game similar to Lemmings with a nice story mode. And this is the tutorial, so I don't have many options. Here I can also only make propeller penguins, which is basically the same as the Lemmings with the parachute. Then there are some top-down racing games. It's currently missing sound, but already great fun to play. And you can always have a music player play any music for you while playing. So next we have Fish Fillet, which is a really cool game similar to Sokoban. Sokoban mixed with physics and a story and a lot of cool dialogues. I think it's pretty hard to play. But if you really are into puzzle games and you love to think complex, then this game is for you. Oops, that was bad, so now I have to die. There are already a ton of puzzle games, of course, very nicely presented, like here Color Lines, where you have to put at least 5 into a row. It also has some extra weapons. And that's one of those casual games that you can play on the go. Then of course there's your Puyo Puyo clone, also working nicely, another puzzle game. And for fans of Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, there's Angry Drunken Dwarfs, which is basically a clone of that game with a versus mode. There's also a 2-player mode where 2 can play on 1 unit. Then there's Ball Game HD, another one of the puzzle games where you have to remove all the parts in the level. Then there's Battle Jewels, which is a mixture of a puzzle game and some role-playing game. You get extra weapons, you have your own hit points, you try to kill the opponent. Here the opponent has lost 3 hit points and stuff like that. That's a really cool game, which gets better the longer you play. Then there's Jack, which is another one of those puzzle games where you have to put 3 into a row. So let's leave the puzzle games for now and see some other games. This is one of the really coolest looking games on the Pandora, Battle for Wesnoth, a strategy game with a lot of scenarios. Runs flawlessly, very nice graphics, very nice sound, nice music, and it runs full speed and is very well optimized on the 800x480 screens on the Pandora. Of course, Super Toots shouldn't be missed. The version of the Pandora is optimized for widescreen, so it fits the Pandora LCD completely and looks very nice with those high-resolution graphics. Now here's a fun game. Basically it's a mixture of, well, I'd say locomotion combined with Snake. You tell the train where it should go, and with each part it's selected it gets longer and longer and it shouldn't crash. Now Zelda fans will be happy that there's a lot of Legend of Zelda games. There are 3 homebrew Zelda games, complete with dungeons. Style is like Link to the Past. The story takes place right after the Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo. And they're pretty good. And if you want more Zelda, there's also Zelda Classic. Zelda Classic is a port from the PC version, and basically it's an editor for Zelda games. And there are a real lot, I think about 100 or 150 of Zelda quests you can play, each with their own graphics and sound. So you can play a lot of Zelda games on the Pandora. Next there's Aleph 1, which consists of 3 parts. That's basically a shooting game. So first-person shooter, of course, is also possible and playable. Of course, there are also homebrew arcade games. This is Thruster. The goal is to reach as high as possible, and you should not touch one of the walls, and the only way to eliminate the walls is with your own thrust. So this is kind of crazy game. Next there's Penguin Command, which is basically a clone of Missile Command, which plays very well a combination of the D-pad and of the touch pen. With the touch pen you select where you want to shoot, and with the D-pad you select if you want to shoot with the left, right or middle missile base. So another one of those casual great games. Then there's Kill Everything That Moves, and I think the name says it all. This is a shooting game, and it's really one that trains your reactions. There's a lot of things going on here. This is the first level, so you know what you can expect in later levels. There are extra weapons. Well, all you need to do is kill everything that moves. Now there's the game with one of the most complicated names ever. Scritch, however you may pronounce that one. It's a mixture between puzzle game and jump and run, because there are some areas where you need to think before you move. And it's a remake of an old Spectrum game. Speaking about thinking, here's another one of those games. This is basically a remix to Atomino, where you have to build the correct parts. Now, back to arcade games. Here's Defenguin, which is, as you can see, a remake of Defender with nice graphics and sound. You have to protect the penguins so that they will not be adopted by the aliens. Then there's Enigma. That's one of the puzzle games where you need to also be careful with how to move. There are a lot of different levels where you have to do different stuff. For example, here you have to move around the laser. You play that game with the nubs, and you shouldn't die. Here's another puzzle game. You have to rotate those pads so that everything will be lit. And yes, it's possible. And it's also a nice casual game if you're on the bus. Then remember the good old Defender from the Amiga. Here's Mirror Magic, which has all the Amiga levels in there, as well as some custom levels and some other levels as well. So yeah, you have hundreds of levels to play here. And there's another one of those really, really great homebrew games. That's Janus Return, featuring over 30 levels with boss monsters, different music, different graphic here. There's rain, then there's a level with snow, and there's so much to see. And really has some great levels. One of my favorite Amiga games was Emerald Mines, which was basically an enhanced version of Boulder Dash with a lot of new things like bombs and stuff like that. Here's Rocks and Diamonds, which is basically a remake, and it features a lot of levels, all Emerald Mine levels, all levels from similar kinds of games, so I think you have over 200 levels or something like that to play. Here's one of those homebrew games done especially for the Pandora. Basically it's the good old Joust, you know, from the arcade machine, but with different levels. So your goal is not only to fly and kill your enemies, but to collect items and to watch out where you're going, and of course to kill any enemy that's in your way. Some games already are using the 3D CPU. For example, here's Tux Race, which is just race down as fast as possible, or another mode is race down and collect fish. It has some graphical errors, as you can see with the penguin, but those can be fixed. But the 3D speed is looking great, and that's also one of the games that is just fun to play. So there are a lot of homebrew games for everyone. Puzzle fans, arcade fans, shooting fans. There are a lot more homebrew games and I will show them next week, so stay tuned. But this is one of the cool things of open source devices. You can get hundreds of games for free, totally legal, without having to buy a new system, and you can do so much more with the Pandora, like, as you've seen, remote administration, listen to music, watch movies, write documents, surf the net, so this is really a good value for your money. See you next week.